everybody, thank you so much for joining us again in our second season of Building Greener Businesses. And today I have Tom coming to join me. Thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure.
And he is going to be talking to us about his new venture on Tide and Timber boards. But we all know you from In2Adventures, right?
Yes.
I mean, you're the guy at Sandy Bay with the paddle boards. So tell me a bit about your journey on In2Adventures and how you got yourself started, because not a lot of people might know that.
Sure.
And then from there, a bit more on Tide and Timber.
Well, thanks for inviting me. I will try not to bore you about my paddleboarding lifestyle. So In2Adventures started about 11 years ago at Sandy Bay. I'd been enjoying the waters around Gibraltar, especially the east side, with the wildlife, the whales and the dolphins, and I was desperate to start a business that would bring other people in, let them see how good Gibraltar was and Gibraltar waters. So In2Adventures was created with paddleboards, and we did lessons of paddleboarding and safaris, and it's been a brilliant 11 years of adventure.
11 years,
yeah, it's crazy. So, and we've seen a massive change in paddleboards over the 11 years because it used to be quite unique and adventurous. And then with COVID, the paddleboards kind of changed, and the inflatables came along with, and used to be high end, and then the market changed.
So when the paddleboards came in, it wasn't inflatables. It was more
the rigid board. So originally it was rigid board. So the kind of story of paddleboards was that they were in Hawaii and they used to ride big waves and they could paddle into them. So it's kind of changed over the years, and it became a kind of sport in itself. Very good for your core. You start to do yoga, and then the kind of design and build and manufacturing changed so we could do inflatable boards. And that was probably when I saw this would suit Gibraltar, because we don't all have storage. We've got cars, we can put them in the back and we can go, but we can't take a big board on a roof. We don't have the garage space. So we bought some boards, and first of all I thought I would deliver the boards and like pizza, and people go off on adventures. But then we got Sandy Bay as a base, and we have a little hut, and we teach people the basics and the safety and the winds. And then
it's been great. It's changed the whole atmosphere on Gibraltar's kind of beaches and stuff, because you'll never not see a paddleboard now when you go to the beach, whereas before it was very weird to...
And the first year I started, I couldn't give them away. No one wanted to do it, so it's been such a kind of a curve of kind of enjoyment of everyone. So for years we were doing this, and then after COVID, the cheaper boards came along, and people have bought their own, and they inflate them down the beach and have loads of fun, but they're such a short life cycle. So after a year they're being dumped down the beach, or can it be fixed? No. And they spend so long in landfill because they're different plastics.
What is their lifespan?
Well, they say up to 500 years, because there's so many, especially in the inflatables, so many different types of plastic. So it's not one type that can be reused, and it just doesn't degrade. So that was a problem, and I was wanting to enjoy the beach and enjoy the wildlife, realizing my business was kind of against what we enjoy. So I was also polluting the equipment I use. Even the shaping of the boards makes microplastics. So I was kind of in a dilemma of what to do, and I thought, if I can change the business to be eco-friendly or more sustainable, longer lifestyle, let's fix the boards instead of throwing them away.
Amazing.
So that was the kind of moment I thought, let's change it. But when I went out to the market, nothing existed. So there was no eco-friendly paddleboards out there. There were companies that would plant trees to offset, or they were made in factories where solar panels produce the energy to make the plastic boards.
So at least their carbon footprint would be a bit less, but not quite as sustainable. And again, the end of life would still remain the same. Remained in 500 years in landfill. Which sounds insane when you think about it. You're like, how many generations will be going past that and still be there? For your enjoyment is actually against the ecosystem that you enjoy. So it's kind of crazy. And so this is where Tide and Timber come in.
This is where Tide and Timber. Amazing. So after kind of reaching out to say, can I buy boards that are eco-friendly? I realised there wasn't there, and the surfboard industry is changing. It has the same problem. So the core of the board is foam, so it's heavy petroleum materials that are toxic, and that's the core of the board. That is 70% of the carbon footprint for a surfboard, as well as a paddleboard. So that was the first kind of design challenge to say, can we rethink, can we do something different?
Yeah.
And I reached out to a company in Kenya that called Grow Blanks, that they live on a sisal agave farm, and the farm produces rugs and rope from the leaves.
Okay.
At the end of the cycle, this big pole comes up. You'll have seen them around Gibbon, Spain, but this big pole comes up and then it falls over, and it can grow 25 centimetres a day at the end of the plant's life. So it's really fibrous, and the good thing for me is that it's very similar to foam. So the core of the board is this big pole that comes up in this sisal agave plantation.
Yeah.
So we got chatting, and I said, do you think you could make a paddleboard from this? And they were like, yeah, we've tried it, we just need these big poles. So we started talking, and they sent over some blanks. So the core's called a blank.
Yeah.
And it takes about 40 of these poles to be glued together to make a blank. When the blanks came over, I've worked with local surfboard shapers to make the prototypes, and they perform brilliantly on the water, and they look amazing. But it's
got that wooden look.
It's got the wooden look. It's so
Everyone
cool.
seems to like the wooden look lately,
and
no?
it totally feels right when you're on the water and you're looking at the grain of the wood, and there's just something natural.
Yeah.
But the first prototypes were really heavy, so practically I was struggling, thinking, I can't scale this up to be a business. It's cool, but I can't lift it on the car. I'm dragging it down the beach, and it's not practical.
Yeah.
So I went back and kind of worked with another company in Munich called Eco Surf Supply, and we realised that if we chambered, so we make holes in the poles and then glue them together, it's lighter, it's more buoyant, we can reduce the size. So we did this with the prototypes, and they're brilliant. So we've found another solution for this waste material to be used as a high performance paddleboard by chambering, which means, and no one wants to fall in paddleboarding, do they?
No.
They want to look cool and watch the dolphins and the migrating birds and take photos looking cool. So these boards are brilliant at that, so they perform really well. And Tide and Timber boards are now creating 50 of them, so we're in the final stages with the wooden grain, and they perform really well. So that's the kind of journey where I'm still working on my final figures, but a normal big paddleboard is about 250 CO2 kg, and we're looking at 50 if we can reduce everything down.
Wow.
So this core,
and that includes the end of life.
End of life, because you can repair them. I mean, instead of throwing away a rigid board that is there, you can just fix it and relaminate it and use it again. So if I can make these boards last for 10 years, obviously boards that last 1 or 2 years, the life cycle makes a huge difference.
It does.
And so talking about sustainability and those strategies, that's what's been an eye-opener. It's about that life cycle. If I can improve the life cycle and make really good boards that don't get thrown away, that's the difference.
I mean, I think that's talking about responsibility as being a business owner. I think that everyone starts a company and thinks, this is the best thing that I want to do. It's obviously passionate towards you, and it has to be passionate towards somebody to be able to start a company and really believe and give the hours that we all know it is to. Yeah. But it's incredible to see how you've evolved this company, because no one wants to do any harm to the environment, but you soon realize the impact that you do have, right?
Yeah.
So it's amazing to see something that's passionate and growing in that way.
Yeah.
Do you know just because we saw the 500 years, do you know how long it would take to decompose if it was the person that wouldn't want?
Yeah, in the design process, because it has to be durable. So although the core is a natural fibre, and it kind of sucks in carbon while it's growing, which is the other thing, and then obviously, so it doesn't cost carbon, so there is an interesting equation. It still needs to be fiberglassed, because that gives it the longevity. So there are decisions to say we could use natural resins to kind of waterproof it, but we still need to go back to the old school. So that just to make it last 10 years
Yeah.
and be able to fix it. So those things, but if we can make it a really hard, durable, good board that performs constantly over time, why would anyone want to replace it? These things could be going for 20 years.
Yeah, you can be given from generation to generation.
Exactly, yeah.
You know?
I mean, we've moved away from that now because it's just, if I can buy something cheap and then use it and then throw it away, that's great, I'll just buy another one.
Yeah.
This is going back to
Consumerism.
the old school where buy a really good product that you love and you can fix it and you can pass it on and you can, you know, you're proud of what you own and it's got a great story behind it that, you know, another point.
Can you personalize it as well?
Yeah, so on the front that, you know, if I'm going to sell to corporates and hotel chains that they can put their logos on, you know, but anyone could, you know, pre-laminated it, we can put some designs on. But the amazing thing of the journey that I realised as well is that part of the buying the boards is creating jobs in Kenya. So it's a really high unemployment area, and this is buying these boards is creating 14 more jobs for people that wouldn't have work. So it's a great product, but it's also creating jobs in an area that really needs it and people that really need to work and look after their families. And then even the offcuts of the boards, so in a foam using petroleum methods, there's a lot of plastics made, microplastics, because you're kind of shaping and they go into the environment, into the sea. I mean, we know how all the work the Nautilus project does trying to get rid of those microplastics.
Yeah.
As surfers, water people, paddle boarders are creating that problem with the process. For my partners, they cut the wood. They then give the wood to the local villagers, so they use firewood. So they don't cut down trees, indigenous trees in the area. So they're trying to work symbiotically with the local people to encourage them to.
So even the waste that's being created from the product is being used and reused. So I mean, it's a whole life sort of. You've got the whole cycle going.
Exactly, and I think that's when we talked about doing this podcast. I had to kind of think, but it is about our material choice and where our materials come from. So there was kind of 3 steps, you know, where does it come from and what is that? So, and this product creates jobs, it's brilliant, and it doesn't cause issues along the chain.
Yeah.
And then you still have enjoyment, it's beautiful, but also that longevity, you'll look after it, you'll care about it.
So what's the next steps for Tide Timber? Am I going to be seeing one this summer in Sandy Bay?
Yes, so I've kind of got a phased approach that the first boards we're going to offer to corporates or individuals as part of a kind of circular economy where they can hire storage and the boards, and then they can share
because
them.
It's not inflatable, so we know that the storage is going to be
We want people to use it, but we also want to, you know, share it in the community, so it's not just my thing. It can be shared with companies like a gym membership where people could come down, use the board, share it, take their kids out, enjoy our natural environment. So I'm kind of flipping the hut to be a storage area that we can all use together on these boards, and we know we're doing the environment, you know, it's working with the ecosystem, not against it, which is great. So that's going to be the first phase. Then I'll start selling the boards. I've got lots of interest from eco hotel chains around Portugal and Europe, which is great because they want their logo as a marketing tool. So
of course, and you can have it shared. I mean, why not have it as another activity for the hotel?
Yeah. So the initial role of design and build and sourcing material is now moving to kind of culturally changing people's view on ownership or kind of you know, where does our equipment come from? Should we start thinking about our gear that we use? We enjoy stuff. Let's not wreck it.
That's really cool. I think it makes sense, and it's kind of when you see the full cycle and you see that something was created, but then something different was created. Like, so before it was the full board without the inflatable, but then the inflatable came along, and now we're going back to.
Yes.
Because sometimes we think we had the right idea in the first place, you just needed to modify it and maybe think outside the box, not just go in consumerism with just buying it and then, you know, it's for 1 summer, 2 summers, and then just throw it away and it's fine. Not keep it and you know, keep it for the family, so that I could use it, my kids can use it, and then their kids can use it, and then we just keep it. Why not?
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's a really, really, I think you won an award on this product, didn't you, last year? And I kind of understand why.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the most sustainable product, was it?
Yeah. So lucky enough that the Nautilus project does great work in Jib, and to be recognised is fantastic. But for me, it's just the start. There's so much more we can do. I mean, for example, there are fins being developed from discarded fishing nets. So there are companies around Europe that are getting old fishing nets out of the sea, and they're making them into the surfboard fin, because it's the plastic, and you see these projects and you're so inspired to kind of take something that is a waste product and make it into something really cool. So that's the drive, and it's really nice to be recognised, and hopefully I can persuade people. I mean, there is a cost to all this new innovation, and the supply chain is quite difficult, but hopefully those costs, with more interest in sustainable material, those costs will come down, and the first trailblazing idea costs money, but we'll keep working, and the more people that want these really good products, that the price will come down. So that's the aim, that it becomes the norm.
Exactly, I think so. So I mean, you've been at this 11 years. I can imagine you've seen how things have changed from 11 years ago to now, with people becoming more responsible, people changing, you know, falling in love with nature, with the outdoors, with you know, the oceans and the natural spaces that we have. Where would you want to see us if we're having this conversation in 5 years' time? Where would you want us to be chatting about? What would you be your ideal? I mean, I always say carbon neutrality, you know, that's something that we always want to talk about, but...
Yeah, it's a good question. I think younger people, they get it a bit more, that we need to look after things a bit better, which is great. I mean, part of the concept, the idea is having a product that's scalable as well. Yeah. So people can make bespoke surfboards out of different things, and they're cool, but I would like to make a product that could be scaled up. So this farm, for example, has 8 million poles.
Right.
So we can work towards, the real dream is to go into somewhere like Decathlon, and you see your foam boards. At the end of it, you have a Tide and Timber board that has a great story behind it. Yeah. And that would be the dream, which, you know, you create a brand that people buy into, and you're inspired by people like Patagonia, that it isn't all about the money, it is about giving back on the way.
Responsible purchasing.
That's the one. So, you know, it's such a great journey doing this, and you meet so many people that their hearts are in this design concept of looking after our planet. That's brilliant. So you surround yourself by people that think so cleverly about ideas and design that we've got, and that's, you know, really humbling for me to be part of that, and it's good, and I'd really like to bring it into Jib and spread it so that we all can think there are better ways to do things. We don't have to accept this is the way forward. We can challenge it and make our own way.
It is. It's lovely to hear you speak like this, Tom. Honestly, it's really humbling for me to do that, because I mean, it's refreshing. You know, when you're trying to get these things moving and you hear about all these issues that are happening, you can't lose that motivation on always finding a better product. So, if anybody wanted to get in contact with you and maybe purchase or have a look at these boards, or you're in Instagram and
Instagram. So we're Tide and Timber boards. And if you want to come down, we're down at Sandy Bay, and I'll have the boards and we can try them out and you can see how cool they are. So
when are they coming? Are they
end of April? They'll be in Jib. So exactly, that was the plan. So and again, it's, you know, anything to do with being on the water and being out there is cool, and it's Sandy Bay, such a good place to hang out.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you very much, and thank you guys. See you soon.